He had 60 teams on his sign-up sheet, cut it down to 16 participants, and now we are in the top 3. We have Trauma sitting up there in the grand final, and they do need an opponent for tomorrow. And it's either going to be Eternal or it is going to be Sequence. What a match ahead of us today. Best of 5 to find out who's going to be the second grand finalist for that amazing prize and the crown of the best team in competitive Dead by Daylight. And with me, we have the best head of production and one of the best casters in competitive Dead by Daylight, and that's Good Day. Welcome in, my friend.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend so far. You know, we've just gone off and started it, but I think that this is going to be a great finalizer to the first day for some of you. And as Direwolf mentioned, we're going to have Eternal versus Sequence. Some of the top teams right here that have participated in the past couple of years, Eternal and Sequence. Eternal, one of the favorites coming into this tournament, probably before this tournament and before what we've seen Trauma do, probably the best team in competitive Dead by Daylight so far. But we aren't going to give Sequence a shadow of a doubt right now either. Sequence, another very, very good team, a long history of winning and doing very, very good in this league and other tournaments as well. So hopefully we're going to see one of these teams come up on top and see who's going to be that opponent for Trauma, as you put.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting match, right? We have to look onto the killers here to get an idea of what's waiting for us today, and it does look insane. Just the first 3 sets that could be enough to decide this best of 3 are filled with Ghost Face, Cenobite, and the Hillbilly. Sequence was picking first, and seeing that Ghost Face was not a surprise for me, but it did surprise me that the Ghost Face was set number 1. Seems for me like the start for them to put pressure onto Eternal. If you do take this set with their confidence, we often see them smashing it on Larry's Memorial Institute on the killer side. And on the survivor side, we remember IPIC's comeback last time we played on this map here. Just absolutely insane. They were beating Eternal already on this map, and they are now coming back to it. And starting this off with the Ghost Face on Larry's Memorial Institute is a home map and a home set for Team Sequence. They might be able to take set point number 1 straight away, and then you could say everything is going according to the plan for Team Sequence. They are able to repeat what they have done already. On the other hand, it's a very difficult call, right? Because I feel like if you go in with this Ghost Face and then things are not completely working out for you and Eternal might be able to pull this set number 1, you do lose a lot. So therefore it's a lot of risk, because then Eternal would know, okay, this is potentially the strongest set Sequence was putting up straight for the start here. We have taken that already. Now we are going into our Cenobite set. So in this case, Eternal would be up riding the wave. So that's why I think Ghost Face on set number 1 is a little bit of a gamble, can be high risk, high reward. What do you expect from IPIC today when we look onto the Ghost Face and his amazing performances in the past?
Well, I mean, you just have to, speaking from experience, IPIC is just probably going to get a 4K, at least 1 generator, if not 2. You know, we've seen a lot of good back and forth gameplay, a lot of good just pressuring those survivors. And Eternal, you know, their survivors are top tier. They're able to do a lot, but IPIC just goes off angle all the time and is able to do a lot of damage to the enemy team. And especially with that Colubrine meta, you're able to just force the survivors in a situation where it's going to be lose-lose. If you get off the generators, then the generator is going to reset back to 0. If you're on the generators, then IPIC can always sneak up to you and potentially get an M1 or even a down onto you, and that just snowballs so hard into his favor. Really, Eternal, what they're going to have to do in this set if they do want to win is prevent that first down from coming through as long as possible, and hopefully not get a 3-gen there at the end game. However, IPIC has done a great job at being able to confirm a 3-gen at the end game, or at least a semi 3-gen in Larry's, just because you really can't call out where generators are and which one you're working on as effectively as you would you be able to on other maps, you know, just because of the nature of indoor maps and Larry specifically as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I have to agree on that. I wouldn't be surprised if iPick is just coming out with the 4K once again with generators remaining. Cenobite, the second one. Zaka, a very, very confident Cenobite, was kind of inventing the strategy back then to use the chains to scout the map. It was the first time we've seen him doing it after that killer was released, and then everyone was picking up on it, saying, hey, that's a very, very good work there being done. So Zaka, kind of the trendsetter of how you play the Cenobite. I'm very confident that we will see him today on the Wreckers Yard. We've seen Wreckers Yard being a tricky map from time to time because sometimes survivors are feeling a little bit too confident. May it be because filler pallets are around the shack, may it be because there's the call out, hey, I'm going to throw my body in for you, and then a little bit of miscommunication. And once you are in that basement, these few stages that can be guaranteed a little bit easier can make the swing. On the other hand, we have seen amazing recovery plays on Wreckers Yard. We remember when the Cenobite was standing in the middle of two exit gates with the Noah totem in the middle, and the survivor team still able to escape with all of their survivors. So Wreckers Yard can be a difficult territory, can offer a lot for the survivors. It could go either way. I want to hop and focus a little bit more on set number 3 here with the Hillbilly. Good day. I know you love Hillbilly in comp. I'm in love with Hillbilly in comp. I think a lot of people out there are in love with Hillbilly. But I have to say, I don't know who I have to see as the winner of this set. Sequence picking this was a little bit surprising for me. Eternal is strong as and against the Hillbilly. Sequence is strong as and against, but it isn't a set for me that swings towards either side. Who do you see as the favorite team in this set?
Well, like as you put it, it's going to be very, very hard to decide between these two teams. As we saw in the 1v1 event, I'm going to speak from that just because I haven't seen Billy on Gashaven in so long. But on the 1v1 event, we saw a lot of the reasons why a survivor would go down fast was because they were forced and zoned into specific areas. And knowing Sequence, knowing that they used to have a past with like Pyramid Head and with killers like Ghost Face and whatnot, a lot of the styles that you force from both of those killers, even weirdly Ghost Face, is zoning. So I think they have a little bit of advantage just in the nature of how Hillbilly is going to be played. Like with Ghost Face, you have to force the survivors into certain locations. You have to make sure that they're not going down certain hallways and whatnot. And then with Pyramid Head, you have to force them away from certain tiles, make sure they're not able to make a next tile, stuff like that. I think with the experience they have on both of those killers, that is going to be easily transferable onto Hillbilly. However, I think Eternal just has so much practice versus the Hillbilly, so much experience going against him, that Eternal honestly might take that set as well, even though it is Sequence's pick and they should be pretty strong on the Hillbilly themselves. I think Eternal survivors just edge it out a little bit. So while it is still up in the air, I would give probably the edge to Eternal there in that set. However, moving on to the future sets, this is going to be a best of 5, so it's not going to be just the big 3. We're going to have 3 whole new killers coming in here, and that is going to be, as the Hillbilly you saw before, or sorry, not 3 whole new killers, 2 whole new killers. Plague and Mastermind are going to come in on here as well. So those are also going to be some very, very exciting matches to talk about.
Yeah, that's a good point here. These flip side, in case we do need these killers, then it will be really, really tricky, right? Because Plague is just also testing the teams in a whole different way. It's not about just the mechanical stuff for example, the Hillbilly with the curving, or for example, the Cenobite with the chains. It's not so much about coordination against the stealth killer. Play combines a lot of elements together. Are you able to identify the 3 or 4 gen super quickly? How efficient can you be? Very often we have seen either you break 3 gen early on, or you get 4K'd. There's almost nothing in between if you're not having an insane chase in the mid part of the game and have a good chance to recover. So Plague is testing how teams are loading into a map and if they are immediately aware of their surroundings, if the chases are in the right area, if you do cleanse in the right area. And this main building is very safe and you can run the Plague a lot of times, but you better don't make a mistake, because once you are hooked, in the main building basement, and very often and very consistently there's a 3 or 4 gen on the suffocation pit topside that could spell a GG early on. So you need to be really careful with your decision making on Plague, and that's also why I think it's a perfect killer for set number 4, because we are testing so much on this killer. We are testing so much of awareness, so much of recovery, so much of counterplay. So it's an amazing one, and I know everyone is sitting on edge of their seat, but we need to talk about the tiebreaker, Wesker. I don't think I have a prediction for this one either, because Wesker is relatively new. I'm not so in knowledge yet which team is the best Wesker player and which team has the best strategy, but I think it suits this best of 5 really well. I cannot really explain it, but when I look on this killer pool, I feel like Wesker is just an amazing tiebreaker. I don't really know why, but it's my positive feeling for today.
Well, if I might add to that, I did see Nightlight doing some scrims as the mastermind, I believe yesterday even. So I think Nightlight definitely will have a lot of practice on this killer, and the survivors as well, being able to just have so much experience now and so much practice on that killer just the day before. That's definitely going to give them a little bit of an edge in this matchup if Sequence wasn't also doing that as well. So just knowing that, hey, most teams won't outright pick Wesker, but they won't also ban him, being able to practice him and be able to have him for that tiebreaker just in case things don't go your way, that definitely is going to be something that's going to be huge for Eternal here in this matchup, if they even have to go and use him. But going back to the Plague, I think it's really going to be down to the Survivor team. Once again, a lot of these killers are going to require the Survivor team to play very, very forthrightly and very coordinated, and making sure that they're not making many mistakes at all. And so while the killers are definitely going to have a lot of skill expression here, I think it's the Survivors that are going to be the biggest difference between these two teams.
That's a very good point here. And I'm really looking forward to the question, will we see another Wesker who's able to hold a 3-gen for so long? If I remember right, that was that Sequence or Divine Dead, one of these two. But we have seen a Wesker on the Shelter Woods being able to hold a 3-gen for 15 minutes. I was not thinking that is possible, but I think Eternal and Sequence are also two teams that could surprise us maybe. So let's take a look onto this best of 5. If we will see surprises today, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be Eternal and Sequence. Sequence is going to come out with the Ghost Face on the Larry's Memorial Institute, and we are going to hop into trial number 1 after a very short intermission. Welcome in, everyone. Here we are, trial number 1, Sequence with iPick on the Ghost Face going against Dan the Man, Nightlight, Bubosavre, and Royalty. What a dangerous Survivor roster, stacked with coordination and team play. Dan, last time the man of the match when it came to body blocking and taking hits for the teammate. Royalty, usually the Survivor that is coming up in the mid game with amazing chases, but all of them, to be fair, are showing amazing ones. I pick the man of the best recovery performance on the Ghost Face after looking against very difficult circumstances, with the back at the wall, able to pull a 4K with generators left when they played earlier in this tournament with the Ghost Face on Larry's already. So every reason to feel confident here. That's Royalty going to drop this God pallet in the hallway here. 25% of stock, not the biggest one just yet, but we do see the add-on coming out that the power is coming back after breaking the pallet, and now we are on 50%. Sneaking around, trying to find either Royalty again, who's running around here, and now 75%, so this Survivor needs to watch out already. Now it's going to be interesting if iPick is rotating back towards Royalty, trying to catch him up, let him stay with the belief that iPick is has left the area, or then striking on another Survivor. But it seems like we are going on to Danny, and that was a very nice confidence swing through the pallet here. First injury coming out 80 seconds into the game. The Survivor here, though, towards the edge of the map. That's Nightlight with a beautiful firecracker, however, and that's going to cause a little bit of confusion on the killer side, and Nightlight now no longer zoned, managed to break iPic out of the stealth. So I have to say, this looks like a very organized and very strong start from the Survivor team.
No, yeah, I definitely do agree, but the one thing that I want to point out is that iPic hasn't brought Call of Brine here. Instead, he's opted for just Eruption and Sloppy Butcher on this build. It must mean that iPic isn't very confident about holding that 3-gen there in the late game, which, I mean, going against Eternal could be something that you have to think of. You know, you're going to want to play as consistently as possible, and I think Noed and Sloppy Butcher definitely are going to give that to you. However, Dan, in the meantime, is going to be healed. We're going to find the scratch marks of another survivor. However, we don't know who it is, and it's going to be Nightlight, so not Royalty, who I think you wanted to find there because of how high their stock bar was set up. But ooh, if you were looking on the left side of your screen right there, iPic did find Royalty somewhere nearby. It wasn't Nightlight who was directly in front of him, but he was hiding somewhere nearby, and iPic should know that he's looking for somebody else, and I think he's trying to find Royalty as well. Somebody got on this generator, however, they're no longer working on it. iPic's going to try and kick that. However, the survivors are doing a great job of just splitting up right now and getting a little bit of progress on each generator that they can. Ooh, we see a survivor on the right, the top of their heads. iPic saw them at the last second as well. However, they're not going to be able to make enough distance to try and get into a chase there. Just has to force the kick onto the generator once again, and this is just giving the survivors a lot of time to go back and find other generators, as Corrupt has gone up right now. So iPic doesn't really have a lot of control on the map right now. Ooh, however, he's going to find Dan. Dan is able to get the reveal, however, so iPic not able to get the stock fully up right here, but he should be able to get an M1. However, that means that Dan can go get a body block and potentially even get himself healed if iPic's not able to guarantee it down. And ooh, this God Palette is going to help with that. Ooh, however, iPic's going for a great big mind game, but Dan's not going to fall for it. Dan, the man, is going to run further down into this hallway, not giving iPic any distance right now. Ooh, however, he does find a Royalty, who is 99 right now. If iPic's able to catch up with Royalty and get the stock off onto him, that could be huge. We see a survivor trying to reveal him, iPic crouching to avoid that. However, now returning back to Dan onto this pallet. It's all down to whether or not iPic can land this mind game. However, he's going to be wasting a lot of time, but ooh, Dan slow vaults, and iPic reads it, getting it down, and a ton of eruption value. That's going to be so huge for iPic, and the survivors aren't going to be working on generators currently right now because of that.
Oh, good. I don't want to be negative, but this eruption double and triple value back there reminded me of the Dead Dog Saloon performance of Eternal last weekend. They had this issue already where Survivor is going down and Eruption is striking across the entire Survivor team, and it seems like they have not been able to adjust that during the week here. Unfortunate miscommunication between Dan and his team. That's going to be so much time for iPic here, and that's something you really want right here. You have Royalty on 99, you have Nightlight on 70% stalk progress. You have taken quite some time to get this first down. Sloppy Butcher might help you later on, but you will need to have the injuries first, and this eruption value is so huge. Now you can kinda camp this survivor into the second stage without being worried. That one survivor that wasn't affected by eruption has now finished generator number 1, so we will see Eternal getting the first 2 points coming in here, but Sequence in a good spot here. They do take care of 2 additional generators here, and that's going to be Bobazavre finishing a generator very soon, 80% on that one, but second stage onto Dan here, so there's the chance to tunnel this survivor out. Royalty in the next chase needs to be careful with that stalk progress, better leaving the generator very early, and now it's tremendously important that Eternal has a perfect communication, making each other aware whenever iPic is rotating towards one of these survivors. Second generator coming out, Bobazavre leaving early, good communication right there on the survivor side, and now it's going to be tricky, right? Because Sloppy Butcher not really coming into effect just yet, and I feel like this is going to be a key element. If iPic wants to increase the pressure here, you will need some injuries, and now it looks like a double save coming in. We need to watch out though for Nightlight, 70% stalk, that he's not going down. Is this? Oh, they are breaking him out, but that's going to be
the eruption
injured. That would be a nice trade. One eruption in the back there, but 2 minutes of hang time for Team Eternal. So I would say from the first impression, this kind of worked out for them.
well, you have to keep in mind, Dyer, everybody essentially right now is one hit away from death. Nightlight 99, Royalty 99, Dan also injured. This is a bunch of snowball potential available for iPic here right in the situation. Royalty, I thought, was going to be the one going in for the save, but instead was Nightlight. If Royalty did go in for the save, that would have been a huge mistake, as Royalty, as we said, is 99, meaning that they couldn't have gone for it safely. However, Nightlight was able to waste a few precious seconds, and Bubbo was able to run in and get that save. Bubbo now saved, another generator popped. iPic is on the back foot right here. He was in a position where he could have had a death at one generator remaining and then Noed to kind of make up for the rest of that, but the survivors have played so well right now and are able to spread this pressure so efficiently that iPic really doesn't have a situation where he can snowball right now, even though everybody is essentially one hit away from death, just because they haven't wasted enough ballots, they haven't wasted enough resources, and the resources around where they are working on are still up as well. So iPic is going to be very, very hard to try and get this hit. Ooh, he goes for an ambitious swing, but it's not going to land. Royalty going to go for the blind, runs to the left, as you can hear on your headphones right now, and iPic's going to follow that as well. They're going to be exposed for the next 40 seconds. iPic could potentially get it down here. However, ooh, we see Royalty greeting the pallet. iPic now has the favor of the pallet. However, Royalty should still be able to make this no matter what. So iPic in a difficult situation once again. Royalty should just run to another safe pallet and run out this entire exposed. Dan and Bubbo in the meantime have both been healed, and Nightlight is the only person who is very vulnerable to iPic right now. iPic going to leave, try to mind game around, but is going to find Royalty at another pallet once again. However, he has to run around a long tile right here. iPic might be able to catch up. He has around 10 more seconds left on this exposed. It all comes down to whether or not he's going to be able to catch up in the meantime.
Yeah, he's doing a good run here. This pallet was so important, and they are taking additional safety for Royalty. Bubazavre with a nice injury right there. Now it is confirmed. Royalty survives the exposed status effect here, will stay alive. 2 generators remaining, 3 hook stages. Eternal looking so much better against iPic's Ghost Face than they did last time, so we can really tell Eternal was practicing specifically for this killer. And this is what we talked about, right? Coming in with this set number 1, if Eternal manages to take this set from Team Sequence, that would be so huge, and Sequence plan for this best of 5 would basically no longer work out. So let's see how this is continued. There's going to be Bubazava once again. He is staying injured for the entirety of the game. As soon as he's reset, he will take another M1, but iPic doesn't really have the time to chase this. Needs to go back. We do see a little bit of a 3-gen here. Could be interpreted as a nice triangle, but still very spread, so definitely not the best setup you can ask for on the Larry's Memorial Institute. Here we do catch the next survivor right here. That is, I believe, Dan with no stock
Royalty
progress just yet. Royalty, but also 0% of stock so far, so that would take a little bit. Nightlight, the survivor that is currently in danger with the next time iPic is able to locate them, is doing a really good job of staying hidden and just taking care about the generators. So Eternal also coming in with so much more awareness that iPic doesn't even have a chance to strike here.
You know, one thing that it really irks me right now about iPic, other than getting hit from that head on, is that iPic doesn't have Call of Brine in this situation. He has this eruption, but without being able to get any downs, it's not going to really get any value off of it. If he had that Call of Brine, a lot of these generators would be resetting to a very low percentage, but because of the perk choices, iPic isn't going to be able to get a lot of value off of that. Royalty now going to be in the next one, and Chase is around 50% in stock. iPic might be able to get that up to 90, and yes, he is. However, we've seen Royalty being able to use these resources very efficiently, so even though iPic is going to get the stock off, Royalty is immediately going to find another pallet. iPic's going to have to break it, and in the duration it takes for him to break and catch up, he should be able to make another safe pallet. The only thing that iPic really can do right now is spread off and try to find somebody else, and it looks like he's trying to find someone else. This could be Nightlight or Bubbo. The question is, if it is Nightlight, is iPic going to be able to get value off of that? Because Nightlight has done a great job of being able to prevent the stock from coming through, and now it is in a very advantageous position to be able to potentially try to avoid this next hit. It seems like it's going to come through. However, iPic able to get it. The eruption value will come off. No one's going to scream over, so no one is incapacitated right now, meaning that all the survivors can immediately get back on those generators and try to fix the progress that was just lost. That 15% isn't going to be much when the survivors are immediately going to be able to get a lot of progress on that. iPic is going to be able to take Nightlight down to the basement, but this still isn't going to be enough for iPic really to have a comeback here in this stage of the game.
Yeah, this is the difficult one, right? Come back now and right here, or it's going to be tricky. I feel this seems to be the bottleneck situation in any Ghost Face set on the Larry's Memorial Institute. Ooh. Generator 4 and generator number 5 are so difficult,
so
and Nightlight is going to take a lot of stock progress with them. That's going to be royalty. With an injury, they do get out of the basement here. Chase is going on. There are no scratch marks for iPick, so you need to track the survivor by your own game sense. That seems to work here. iPick is moving over towards this generator here that has a little bit of progress, and Eternal is working on this 5th generator, so the pressure is rising and rising, but they do manage to escape from the basement here, and there it is. Nightlight with adrenaline as well. 5th generator, 4 stages. I don't think this is how iPick planned this, and this is not how it was played out last time. Eternal with such an amazing performance. Nightlight now exposed, needs to survive this chase, otherwise there would be more stages added. Is the survivor coming in? That's going to be the question for the final seconds of this trial here. Nobody has an exposed status effect. Nobody needs to be worried about iPick taking the one-hit potential onto them, and that's very nice. The chain of the pallet and the window together. He makes this pallet as well. Nightlight absolutely shining here in the last minute of this trial. He might be able to run it out all alone. What a runner there's Bubbles once again. They're trying to stalk this, but doesn't work out. They might all leave out of this trial. Good day. This might be a 4 out.
This would be so huge to get a 4 out in this situation. We see Royalty being healed. That probably means that they're at the opposite exit gate with Dan. No, they were nearby, even getting reset right next to where iPick was. Dan, Royalty, Nightlight, Bubba, all in the same exit gate. Now they're going to heal for those extra blood points. This is going to be the 4 out from Eternal, starting this match off very, very strong.
18-11. 18-11 for Eternal's survivors. 8 stages out of the door. What an insane game from them, especially compared to what they have shown last time against Sequence. What a story of practicing, preparing, and showing off in an absolute fantastic way. Now my question to you, Gooday, how do you play this on the side of Sequence? Do you have any extra strategy on the survivor side, or do you just try to have a long chase in the early game, smash through the gens? Like, how do you contest this? 4 stages is almost luxury position for Eternal.
You know, in positions like this, Sequence has to remember the core rule of Dead by Daylight, right? Just don't get hit forehead. And, you know, we'll see if they're able to do that after a short break.
Welcome back. This time for real, Sequence was able to load into the lobby of Zaka. 4 stages are needed across the survivor team. 5 stages would be the guaranteed win against Axize, iPick, Swatter, and Seth on the survivor side for Team Sequence. One of the most difficult Larry's performances against the Ghost Face, but if there's one team that has pulled surprises in the past and against the odds, then it was said Team Sequence. So let's see how they are approaching this and how the first survivor that is in chase is doing here. A lot of responsibility laying on those shoulders, and it will not be an easy task. Here we are, Zaka on the Ghost Face, Sloppy Butcher, but this time a Call of Brian picked over Eruption. Interesting there. And for the end gamer, no one escapes death, paired with the Corrupt Intervention. Interesting to see Corrupt Intervention back. We saw a couple of matches on Larry's Memorial Institute where this perk was no longer be brought because there was no sense for the teams to defend such a region, but it seems like towards the later rounds, when you have efficient survivor teams, you really need this little slowdown. First survivor is iPick, one of the most experienced ones, but he's over-peaking at this corner of the pallet, and that's going to be a very quick injury here. So I think Zaka is feeling very, very good here.
Yeah, no, Zaka is in a great position. iPick was caught up on a little bit of the edges right there and lost him a couple seconds of distance. Zaka now has to chase him around this pallet. However, it should be a very, very easy to bloodlust, but no, Zaka's just going to go for the kick after losing that mind game. He's not confident in being able to catch iPick on that pallet, so instead he's going to force him to another one, but ooh, that's going to result in not just another very safe pallet, but also a body block from Seth coming out. However, Zaka with that Zombie Butcher is going to get a little value out of that. The blood is going to lead Zaka towards towards his next victim, but instead he's going to see Seth, or hear him rather, through the walls. Zaka is going to find Seth at this God Pallet. The God Pallet instantly is dropped. Zaka is going to continue the chase on to Seth irregardless of that, and now we'll continue on to this pallet, which again, very, very unsafe. Zaka could get it down right here, and this can only be comboed into yet again another very unsafe pallet, unless there's a God Pallet or a body block. Oh, that would have been a very, very fast down though. But now Exile's coming in for the last second save. iPick in the meantime going to get reset. Zaka in a better position to find a down previously than he is currently right now. Exile is going to have a lot of resources in this area. Zaka not going to be able to chase him for much longer because of that. Finds Swatter instead. However, again, a very, very safe area this place is, meaning Zaka is going to have to land a very insane mind game, or is going to have to try and get a hit on another pallet by breaking this one.
Yeah, this would have been insane, and how they came in their last second has saved them so much. Now they need to pick up on that and keep Zaka on a longer run here. They are doing a good job. We have 2 survivors injured. No survivor has been stalked yet, so nobody's close to a 1-hit or a fast down here. So things are looking good for Team Sequence. We'll see how many generators are coming out very soon. I do think they have split up across the objectives here. That could explain the long time for the first generator here. And they do go for resets as well. Great point to perform a heal, exactly there where the pallet is offering some safety, and nice mind games coming out here by Swatter, just in the perfect moment back and forth, but then vaulting a little bit too early. That's going to be an injury. We are moving over to the next pallet, and there should be a survivor coming in very soon after the main room has been used here. Zaka decides to go around this pallet, potentially picking up the Bloodlust. Nancy will be able to go a couple of rounds here. We do see the Adam already in the distance. iPick is ready to assist his teammates. So Sequence is finding a perfect play between objectives and teamwork like this, head-on, throwing in bodies as basically additional pallets. So this all looks really strong, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of generators coming out very, very soon here. We have the breakout from the power as well, so Zaka will now be easy to locate. So Sequence is playing a wonderful match so far, almost like a tutorial being recorded for the YouTube section of Team Sequence there. And if they are able to keep it up like this, I may have to take my call back. Then it might be way much closer than I thought.
Yeah, Sequences of survivors are showing how experienced they are versus the Ghost Face right here, able to take so many body blocks, and as you said, I think a lot of generators are about to start popping. Ooh, Zaka missing that hit, that's going to be huge for the survivor team, able to get a lot of distance away because of that, and Zaka now needs to spread his pressure or get it down immediately if he wants to get any value out of these last couple of chases, but Exile is going to prevent that by, again, taking another body block. Zaka is going to have to work for this down, and the survivors aren't making it easy. We are at a location where it's going to be very easy for Zaka to potentially get it down if Exile isn't able to get a body block. However, Zaka knows that Exile is a very experienced survivor, so just going to take that M1, which is going to give iPick enough distance to make it to another safe location. However, it seems like they're both going to be looping together, which might be dangerous since they both are injured. Zaka could get a lot of value out of here, potentially even 2 downs if the survivors don't play this correctly. Another body block needs to come through fast if they want to prevent a bad situation from happening. Ooh, but it seems like Exile took the distance at the proper time, and because that, only iPick will be down. But ooh, there's one generator. We could see 2, maybe even 3, and the survivors are going to have a lot of opportunity to start working on generators once iPick gets hooked, if Zaka chooses to camp here in this situation.
Yeah, now it's the question if this is a dangerous dynamic from Zaka here for Team Eternal, if he's able to confirm second stage, if the survivors are saving in time, if they are forced to take a trade, they should get the Anok and then somehow move away altogether. They might need to pull the entire Team Sequence here, because the next run needs to be a long one as well. We have 2 generators so far, but that's not going to be enough to push into the end game anytime soon. Sloppy Butcher is now doing a little bit of work here. All these resets are taking a few seconds longer, but just when Zaka moves away from the hook, that's a wonderful timing for the Anok, and Zaka is orientating himself on the win condition, is not going for a tunnel out. He knows that 4 stages across the board would secure the win here, so that's a wonderful decision to not force force the 3v1 instantly, and that's now going to force the Nancy into a little bit of a rotation around this tile here. That's going to be less distance for this survivor, so a good work here as well, and that's not so much distance. There's the mind game around this pallet needed here. It's not going to be enough though for the swing. A little bit of mind game, the +5 stone in the shower section of Larry's Memorial Institute. There's a reset in the distance, but we need a teammate very, very soon here, very fast. Someone needs to rotate over and help our Nancy. Beautiful double back when line of sight was broken, taking distance. This pallet here is not safe at all. Zaka going for the mind games. We need a survivor. We need a teammate of the sequence. Is it going to happen? No. It's going to be another down, and now we either need a very, very quick generator, potentially 2 of them, or we need another beautiful save like we saw before.
Yeah, and Zaka probably not going to allow that to happen. You know, even if he wants these next 3 generators to pop, he has Noah. He can confirm the death onto Swatter and potentially get another down in the in-game as well. It's going to be very, very safe for Zaka to stay around this hook. However, it seems like he's going for more. He's greedy here. He wants to get as many points as possible, and that's really going to be the question of whether or not he's able to really go and do that. We hear a generator being worked on really close to Zaka right now in this little opening room, and the survivors are going to save Swatter, meaning only 2 stages are allowed for Zaka here currently. In this moment, the survivors are going to be working on the generators. They're going to be near popping. Zaka's going to be able to apply that Call O'Brien, but with no pressure, no location known about where these survivors actually are, Zaka's going to be in a very, very difficult situation to try and get those next 2 stages. We saw how long it took for that first one to go, and if we're able to have another chase like that, it could mean that that game is going to be ended by the time Zaka is able to get his next hook. However, if he's able to camp that out thanks to that Noed, it could still mean the win for him. We're going to see the expose onto Zaka there, actually making him come out of his power, and now has to chase iPick around this top of the building. He shouldn't be able to make one of these windows unless Zaka goes for the pre-vault himself, expecting iPick to instantly go for that vault, but instead now just going to run around this top of the main building once again. Ooh, but he runs directly back into Zaka. Zaka using his stealth to the maximum right there, able to find iPick on this side, and because of that, iPick in a much, much worse location, not able to make much distance away from here. Zaka is going to find him now at this pallet. This pallet is relatively safe. However, Zaka able to pull out a couple of crouch mind games. This could work out great for him. He's going back and forth. He's trying to hide exactly where he's coming from, and he's hiding where his head is. This could be huge for Zaka, and he's able to find the down onto iPick because of that. One of the most underrated parts of Ghost Face kit, in my opinion, is the crouch and the ability to hide yourself over these loops like that. Ooh, and a wonderful mind game now coming out for Excise will gain even more pressure, and the survivors are definitely on the back foot here now.
Yeah, this was a very nice mind game right here. He's losing the 3rd generator as a punishment. Sequence is doing a good job on the objectives. I do think we need to generate a number 4 here, and then we are slowly working towards the end game if Sequence wants to make this work. We only need 1 additional stage here, very likely, so let's see if they are able to play a perfect game from now while also saving iPick. I'm not entirely aware if this is a tie when iPick would die here on hook, so if Zaka gets the death here and then 1 additional stage would definitely be enough. So Sequence is under pressure. Sequence need to play a perfect survivor game from now on. Zaka already looking out for the next survivor. He can play aggressive because he does not need any elimination here. A 3-1 isn't needed to take the win, and going confident around here, just a few centimeters with the knife there, missing the back of Axis, but Axis is in a very difficult spot here. Zaka can just stay here and force Axis into a mistake, so needs to be first, but he does decide to break this edge pallet here. That's an interesting choice. Now the rotation of Ace back towards the mid of the map here, going for some safety. 4th generator has come out here. We will see if Sequence is quick on them. We are still on the tail of Excise here. He needs to have a perfect flawless run. This pallet here is relatively safe, but you do need to have perfect mind games against Zaka here. Back and forth, nice patience. There's help coming in, instantly going for it, instantly taking it into adrenaline. This might be a huge play towards the end here. No one escapes death, activating though, but they will sit onto the store. No way out not allowed if you do bring no one escapes death. So Sequence on edge to pull it here. Nia is the next survivor in the chase here. Will she be able to run it out? It will be an instant down though. On to Seth. The other survivors will just go for the door here, and Seth is not going to be saved, at least not with the no one escapes death. So Sequence needs to find this totem and then come back into the game if they do want to assist the teammate here. What a very close end game. That's going to be a fresh hook as well. So now it means you need this out for Seth, or you are in a difficult spot here. Totem right next to the hook, so this seems so difficult, and Zaka is in such a wonderful spot here, even though we have to say this is way closer than Eternal planning this.
Yeah, Zaka has to force Seth into this second stage. He's right next to the Noah Teller, so it's going to be relatively easy. However, if one of the survivors are able to sneak by, potentially get the save, or get the door, or get that Noah, it could turn into the survivor's favor. However, they're on a time limit. We only have around 20 more seconds left in this stage before Seth is going to hit that second. We see Swatter going in for the save, but it's not going to be enough to try and bait Zaka away just yet. He's going to try and force a chase with him. However, there's no pallets around. He might just go down here, and that could confirm the win for Eternal here, unless there's a way to save both Swatter before he's able to get there. But no, Seth is going to be saved, but Swatter is going to be up on the hook, and I believe Seth is the fresh hook as well, or no, Swatter rather is the fresh hook as well, but no, instead no, he's just going to be those 2 stages. But still, that is going to be the win for Eternal.
This is an insane set number 1 here. It was Sequence pick, Sequence home map, Sequence Larius Memorial Institute with the Ghost Face, and Eternal taking set point number 1 here is insane for them. They are now loading into the Cenobite. I do think it's Zaka playing straight again also, so you come in with such a confidence here in set number 2. Everything is going for you. You've taken the plan of your opponent down. You are smashing it. You are now in a beautiful spot. You have the good feeling after set number 1 with the first set point you to secure another down right here, now increasing the score and the stages even. So Eternal looking so wonderful here, really working on the weaknesses on Larius Memorial Institute. Everything that was making Sequence strong on this map is something Eternal has picked up since the last game on Larius Memorial Institute 2 weeks ago. It will be 2 kills and 2 outs here, so an insane performance by Team Eternal. I do believe this is going to be quite a clear score. Should be around 8 or 10 points difference. Yeah, 35 to 26, so 9 points difference there in favor of Eternal. Very strong performance. First set point here. Zaka will keep it up as the killer here, and since we had a delay due to behavior in the first trial, we don't want to let you wait. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back for you with set number 2, the Cenobite on the Wrecker's Yard, after a short break. Welcome back, everybody. Second set. It's going to be Zaka on killer once again. Excise, IPIC, Swatter, and Seth. Roster on the Survivor side did not change. They played a wonderful set on the Ghost Face, Larius Memorial Institute. Unfortunately, it was Eternal with a 35 to 26 to take this first set point. So not going according to plan for Team Sequence, but we will see if they can keep up this wonderful Survivor performance in set number 2 and potentially pull it right back into a 1-1. For now, Eternal with the lead here, 1-0 on the set points. Best of 5 means we need 3 set points in order to move into the grand final tomorrow against Team Trauma. That team is already waiting for them. There is Zaka able to find the box early on. That's kind of the challenge for all the Cenobites when loading into the match. Doesn't seem to be the case here. We do, however, see that No One Escapes Death has been replaced with No Way Out. So Zaka is confident to get survivors across the board here. And I think with Zaka and showing quite confident Cenobite performances in the past, he has a good reason for this perk pick.
No, yeah, I definitely do agree, and it seems like Zaka is going to be afraid of a little bit of a head-on there as IPIC is trying to loop around these lockers. He's going to take it wide. Ooh, it seems like he did, but maybe the survivors could have gotten a stun there if they were in that locker. In the meantime, Excise is going to get that box and start working on it. Ooh, Zaka trying to go for an initiative hit, not going to be able to land it onto IPIC just yet. However, this change should be able to slow him down just a little bit and potentially get a hit if he's able to break this pallet immediately. It seems like he's able to do just that. This should be the first hit coming out really soon. Ooh, but no, IPIC makes another filler pallet. Very unlucky for Zaka here. He's also going to be able to loop that into a TNL wall too, and even the Shack. So iPic in a very, very advantageous position right here, right now. But ooh, Zaka might be able to get hit unless he uses that Shack pallet. But no, he respects it. Oh, and the head on as well. That's why he respected it. That was so well played from the survivors of Sequence, right? They're able to prevent the hit coming out from Zaka. And one thing that you did mention there, Direwolf, was that he did not bring Noah. Instead, that No Way Out, he's going to use that Terminus to try and prevent the survivors from, or basically force the survivors in a position where they're already going to be one shot down in that end game. So a very smart combo coming out here from Zaka. iPic going to be injured in the meantime. Now needs to try and get it down right here. Zaka should be in a situation where he can force this down as long as the body block doesn't come through. We see Seth riding next to Zaka as well, trying to take a body block. However, Zaka still in the advantageous position as Seth hasn't been able to catch up, and Zaka is going to hit Seth before he's even able to catch up, meaning that iPic is just in the corner with nothing to speak of and should be taking it down here soon unless he's able to play this filler pallet out of his mind, but it doesn't seem like he's able to. Because of that chain, he's prevented from making it anywhere else, but Slaughter, out of nowhere, shows up and is able to take a body block. That is insane.
Wow, yeah, this is insane. How they're coming in last second time and time again. Now it's going to be the down onto iPic, but that was very nicely delayed. Half of a minute with two survivors helping out there, and that is going to be that generator in the corner right there as well. So Zaka is not having a hook in the active generators anymore. They can really work on the generators over there, missing this chain onto the Nancy as well. Swatter will be able to rotate further away from the hook location, and the generator safe coming in just when Zaka is moving away. Chain not even hitting the survivor, so save for free coming out, and that's going to be a spread burst away here. 4-hour Adam, very, very nicely done. That's now going to be the healthy Excise taking a hook. Zaka could just chase this survivor, stacking up his No Way Out towards the end game, but at the same time you want to make sure that you have a 3v1 scenario as soon as possible, trying to go over the car here. The distance is too far. That's not going to be in reach for Zaka. Okay, here vaulting this one here. We do have a ton of injuries, and that's going to be a ton of pressure now onto Team Sequence. They need to debate really, really carefully if they want to take the resets or if they do take the generators. Decision seems to be the reset. There's Excise potentially rotating over to take a hit very soon. This killer pallet is now dropped, and a mistake coming out by Seth, hesitating a little bit too long, but it's a full reset in exchange for this down here. So not the worst trade for Team Sequence, with two generators done as well.
But you have to keep in mind, this is going to be another stack of No Way Out for Zaka, and the survivors are going to be put in a situation where they really can't work on these generators right now because of that full reset, meaning Zaka is definitely the one in the most advantageous position right here. However, the survivors always have a chance to make a comeback if Zaka is going to have a less than subpar chase, we'll say, against one of these survivors, especially if he's not able to try and camp out Seth here. If the survivors are able to go in for a sneaky save, say when he's trying to go for these epic chain shots, that could result in Zaka not having a very, very good position. But it seems like everyone's just going to be focusing on these generators and leaving Seth to hang right here, and that could be an interesting decision from these survivors if they are going to go for it. But it seems like one of them is going to try and work on that box to prevent Zaka from getting the very, very overpowering pressure in these chases thanks to that chain hunt. But Excise is just going to try and harass Zaka, force him away from the hook, and that means that one of the survivors could potentially come in for the save onto Seth. But that's the question: are they nearby? Are they close enough? Are they working on generators? That's really all that should be going through Zaka's mind right now. In the meantime, Excise is going to be able to finish that box just because of that near miss from Zaka, and Seth is going to enter the second stage. This is looking more and more like Zaka is going to be coming out here with a very, very good score.
Yeah, especially if this elimination on Seth would happen here in the mid-game, right? Then cutting down Sequence to 3 survivors would cut down the generator pressure so much here. Zaka is already scouting the area, trying to catch an incoming rescuer early on, going for the chain here as well. Scouting once again, 4th generator. However, sometimes eliminating a survivor in the mid-game can take a little bit too long, and then you have an issue with the objective being smashed into the end game, because this 3v1 strategy is only a benefit if you are able to keep it up until the end game. But as you mentioned, there's a beautiful triangle around the hook here, and a nice chain onto Swatter here. That should be Seth eliminated. So 3 Sequence survivors trying to attack these 3 generators. This is not the best 3-gen in any case, but it's also not the worst spread for the killer here. Survivor left early on. We do have, however, 3 pistons pumping on this generator already. A filler pallet next to it, granting some safety as well. So it's not the worst setup for the Survivor team, and we will need to see if this 3v1 was really taking the impact that Zaka was expecting. A miss onto the Survivor here this game, I have to say. A little bit more mistakes on the killer side, or a little bit more missed chains right there, but of course you are going against Team Sequence here. However, all relevant chains, all the core ones, and especially taking pressure. This is what Zake is doing very, very beautifully. So these few missed chains are, if you take the mathematical rate, are increasing against Team Sequence here, but they do not really matter because he's hitting beautiful chains like that. What a wonderful performance by Zake here. That could be another injury coming out. No, unfortunately ending in the stun of the distance, but the pressure was there, at least getting the resource out of the way. So let's see how this is played out. Zake moved quite far away from the generators here, might seem to rely on the no way out in the end game here and wants to take additional downs then, but is now going back towards the right side, the east side of Wreckers Yard over here. Nancy is leaving the area. That's going to be a chain forcing the next pallet drop. So Zake is doing a perfect job in putting the pressure up to get a lot of resources out of the trial here.
Yeah, this could be huge. Swatter's going to take an injury, and he's on the corner of the map where a lot of the resources have been used, but all of the survivors finish a generator and activate No Way Out at the same exact time. Wow. Swatter being the only one affected by that Terminus, meaning that Zaka isn't going to have a lot of value out of that. iPick also going to be cleansing the box at the same time. Swatter will go down. That's going to be another 7 points. However, both of those survivors out the door isn't going to be what you want. A 2K isn't really what you wanted in this situation from Zaka. The survivors were just so efficient on the generators and able to get so many done here in the early game that, you know, Zaka wasn't able to make a comeback, and that's so huge for them.
Yeah, this is really, really insane. The efficiency pushing them into the end game so quickly is just really insane. This is what we said, right? The 3v1 could be so impressive, but you do need to have the value from that in the late mid game and the end game, and that wasn't what Sequence was allowing here. The pressure on the generators was too high, and now No Way Out has already expired. Yes, Swatter would be up to 7 stages here, but that's still a result a confident Cenobite can put up here. So let's see how this is played out here. I mean, it will be interesting if they are coming back. They could take the 7 stages, wouldn't be the worst result at all, and they do have a confident Cenobite on their roster as well, or they are trying it. We do have, especially they need to be careful with Excise there, the remaining trash hooks, so it might be iPick and iPick doing the job here with the unhook. They are moving in though. iPick is already around. Excess needs to be careful, as we said. That's the fresh hook. So that's going to be iPick taking the hit. That's going to be Excise taking the survivor from the hook. Now it's important that Excise is surviving here. This is the fresh hook, and the fresh hook is able to escape it. And they're both escaping it. They're in the exit gate already. And it's a 3-man escape from 7 stages down to 5. What an insane last second pull and play here by Team Sequence. Insane performance here. So what, just absolutely smashing it, and this is exactly how you respond to a lost set number 1. 17 Sequence, 13 for Eternal. Sequence with the lead here. 5 stages only towards the killer of Eternal. What a last second swing. What a signal for trial number 4. And whoever is coming out for Team Sequence, I do think it's iPick once again, but whoever is taking the responsibility, that's not going... Oh, it's actually Volga coming out on the Cenobite, so that sounds very scary, to be fair.
Yeah, this definitely is going to be a dangerous position. You know, we saw Eternal with a 4 out versus the Ghost Face in the first set, and now Sequence with a 3-man out versus Zaka. They're going back and forth. I can tell that this best of 5 is definitely going to go towards the end here, and both teams are just playing so close to each other's back, and we'll see if Eternal now is able to make a comeback, unlike Sequence in the previous set after a short break.
Welcome back, everybody. Trial number 4. We are finishing off set number 2. Cenobite on... Oh, I say Cenobite. It's the Cenobite on the Wreckers Yard. Only Eviscerate would play the Cenobite. It's Volga for Team Sequence and Dan, Nightlight, Zaka, and Royalty coming out on the Survivors side. So Zaka now switching from the dangerous Cenobite killer to the dangerous survivor right there. Let's find out how this is looking. I believe that they had Bubazavra originally on the roster. Maybe a little bit of a... No, it is Bubazavra actually, so he's still playing. Don't mind me right there. It is going to be Eternal now with quite some pressure. We have only seen 5 stages, so we need to make sure that this is working, and they do perform a little bit of synchro locker hopping right there. Great team chemistry on this side of Eternal being proven right there. They take it carefully, and the first pressure is already on the table. Nightlight is also in chase right here, and that's a reverse stun, basically, even though that was taken out of the game here. Good start for them. So now is the question, how long can Nightlight be in chase? And that was almost the down right there, so the pressure is really, really high. So it looks like a dangerous one if there's not a survivor rotating over, but that's exactly the case. And once again, it's Bubazavra doing a wonderful job today with guarding his team members, taking the Lithe way to make sure that he's standing in the way but not even taking an injury. So far, perfect team chemistry on the side of Eternal.
Yes, this is definitely going to be a very, very good position for them to be in. However, Bubbo taking that injury is going to mean that there's going to be less people able to come in for those bottom blocks. We saw Dan in the meantime was working on that box, able to get the puzzle solved, and meaning Volga doesn't really have his power up right now. But that also means that Dan is probably distances away. Zaka, only person who could really come in for a buy block right now. But Volga is in the corner of the map. If he sees Zaka coming in for this save, it could mean that Bubble will be going down right here. But Volga is going to get blinded, means Zaka's going to have some opportunity to try and come in for the save, and we see him right there behind him. Volga only has a few opportunities right here. He needs to land his chain, and he needs to position himself perfectly to be able to get this hit. It seems like he's not going to be able to do it, however, as Zaka at the last second will come in for that hit. The force penance is going to be applied towards Bubbo now, and the stacks of that save the best for last are going to be built up. This is definitely a very strange build to see on the Cenobite, but Volga is making it work so far, getting it down with only 1 generator popping as opposed to the 2 that we saw previously.
And now Bubazavra downed here, and the 2 injuries, as you say, across the board. The pressure here for Volga. He has a good reason to be confident right here, but Generate is being completed, 2 of them done at this point. We do have someone on the hill here, makes me think that is indeed a balanced landing to take some distance away. And Volga still not going to confirm a second stage, not going to camp here. He knows that just needs a few stages here. 6 would be a guaranteed win, so he is taking them in a confident playstyle, and also the no way out is down there, so every fresh hook will cause a longer endgame. Save the best for last is such an interesting perk, but with 4 stacks it was very likely called out on Team Eternal, so Dan was the perfect survivor to take a hit here to make sure that the save the best for last is reduced by 2 stacks, and that's a wonderful fake there by Zaka into the swing right here. So let's see how this is played out. That's going to be now the application of the chains onto Nancy once again here, but she is able to take distance, will go back to the shack, and nice try to dodge this. You're not going to work out though. Zaka unfortunately going on in front of the shack, but still making sure that this chase was going on a little bit longer. So it's on edge here. Eternal is doing a good job on the killer side, but the pressure from the survivor team is definitely very significant as well.
That force penalty is so huge for Volga here in this situation, with Dan and Bubazavra both able to be targeted right now. Nightlight, the only person who could be safe, however, he is going to be the one that Volga's going to find, so not the best, but Volga seems to be a little hesitant to take that chase. We do see a little bit of blood leading away from this hill, meaning that Volga's going to be able to track that and find Bubbo, the exact survivor he wanted, the one who's injured and the one who's not the obsession, able to get 1 more stack of save the best for last and have a quick chase. This pallet's not going to be the one you want to play around, but ooh, a wonderful fake. Volga's going to miss it. That means he's going to be able to have another opportunity play around this pallet, but one more opportunity is enough, and Bubba will go down. In the meantime, Zaka's going to be safe. However, another fresh hook, another person that you don't want hooked into this situation. That's going to be a lot of points for Sequence, and Sequence is just getting closer and closer to that win condition. Oh, rather, second stage, sorry, not the first stage. I forgot Bubba was going to be found out in that dead zone at the start of the game. So Dan being found, however, going to mean another chase is going to start immediately, putting Volga in a better position coming into this match. Ooh, and finding the person who's working on the box as well. If Volga's able to get it down onto Dan right here, this could be a huge snowball potential. However, he does have that fun bus to work with, so Volga's not that happy to take the chase just yet.
Yeah, not just yet, but maybe in the very, very near future, because also Eternal not finding time for these resets. Two of them still injured, but Avra now in a perfect moment. Safe though when Volga is going for a chain across the hill. That's going to be generator number 4 as well. Missing this one as well here onto this survivor. That's really, really huge, and that's now going to be next chain applied onto this survivor, but it seems to be a little over longer. Dan is going down in the distance. Oh no! Eternal survivor being stuck right there. Now second one in the chain, in the chase right here. There's going to be everyone injured now. So the box was killing the survivor in the distance right there. And if this is a double stack, that's huge. Now the survivors, one needs to mend, one needs to rotate over towards Dan. So Eternal is busy now with the generator. Yes, turn around towards Eternal. Now turn around back to Sequence. It could be more exciting here. This survivor doing a good job, but now eventually going down. Dan is picked up again. They will hop onto this final generator, but I think it takes a little bit longer here. That's going to be the next hook coming out. That's going to be 4 stages, everyone injured. The pressure is so high. Avra eliminated from the trial as well. Only 3 survivors standing. We're talking about 5 stages here. 6 stages would be the guaranteed win. Volga on an absolute run right now, and with 2 stacks of no way out, 6 stacks of save the best for last. He is so close in getting that done.
Yeah, Volga's in a very, very good position right here, and as you said, those 6 stacks of Save the Best for Last are going to play so huge in this in-game because people aren't going to be able to take the body blocks, but it doesn't seem like a body block is even going to come through. Oh, no, just barely. Volga's going to miss the back of Nightlight. Nightlight's going to be able to make the vault now, able to use this fun bus just a little bit longer, and that means that Volga is going to have an opportunity to potentially lose the set if Nightlight is able to continue this chase any longer. Dan, the only person who can come in for a body block, needs to take it right now, but ooh, the last generator is going to get popped. Zaka's gonna make that vault as well, meaning that now they're gonna be able to make it to another tile, another pallet, and potentially continue the chase even longer. Volga missing again. This is gonna be so huge. If Dan comes in for a body block right now and Nightlight's on a door, this could mean the win for Eternal and the comeback.
Yeah, this is insane how this is back and forth. I don't even know what to believe anymore. Whenever a player makes me believe it's going into their favor, 5 seconds later the exact opposite happens here. And that's not the first one that's played like that. Mind game's not working out for Zaka. He is going down. Dan coming a second too late here, and that's going to be the happy pickup by Volga, and that can now also be carried towards the shack here into the basement. So very, very difficult situation here in the end game. No way out still in place. Nobody can work on the gates just yet, and it would be 6 stages when this survivor is dying in the basement. That would be the win for Team Sequence right here, and there's now the teleport happening by Volga to the survivor that is holding the box over here. Might be a little bit too risky, because the camp onto Zaka would have been the win condition, so teleporting over here was not necessary and was a lot of risk. This basically gives Eternal the chance to pull everything around today.
For the save! This could be huge. Dan's right there, right behind. He's going to be able to take the body block and waste 2 of those stacks to save the best for last. They're going to be able to catch up pretty fast. Everyone's still injured. There's no opportunity for any more mistakes. They're not going to be able to make any more resources other than this window. Nightlight immediately takes it, however, meaning Volga's going to have to be right on his back. No one can come in for those body blocks. Zaka could get potentially reset by Dan here, but it's going to take a couple more seconds, and Nightlight only has this window, but he's able to make a little bit of distance by faking the direction that he's going. Volga is going to lose a lot of distance. He's able to make it to a jungle gym window. This could be a little bit more distance gained. Zaka could potentially get reset. Another body block could come through, but it all comes down to whether or not it's able to continue this chase. He's in the corner right now. Volga only has this window to use. Zaka's going to get reset. However, Nightlight is going to be taking a chain, meaning he's not going to be able to make much distance. Only this truck to work with, but Zaka's right there. The door's been open.
Oh my God.
This could be the escape. This could be the win for Eternal.
Oh my God.
It all comes down to this. He misses. This is going to be the 3-man escape. This is so huge.
That is set! That is the throw of a definite win! There was the win right there in the basement. That was the win in the basement. You just had to camp Zaka in the basement, just staying there in the basement. And now it's a 29-30 for Eternal. They are winning the set. All you had to do was staying in the basement with Zaka face camping him, defending the shack, defending the basement. And set number 2 would have been yours, putting the pressure back on Eternal. And instead, Volga was feeling too confident, teleporting away towards the person that was solving the box there, and this ends in losing the entire set point. And now it's a 2-0 for Eternal. We're standing with the back to the wall, all against the odds now to move into the grand final, because the Hillbilly is the only killer that is in the way of Eternal moving into the grand final. What an unfortunate decision making there on the side of Sequence and Volga. I am not sure if the team was also not realizing they could have shouted on Volga, stay in the shack, stay in the basement, confirm this kill for the second set point. Instead, Volga moving away. One of the history moments of Team Eternal once again after Nightlight's comeback on Spirit last week. Now with the absolute smashing 1-point turn in set number 2. And I have to say, good day, as positive I want to be, this was unfortunately a mistake from Sequence in the end game.
No, it definitely was, and we'll see if Sequence is able to consolidate their efforts now in these next couple of sets. It's a best of 5, so keep in mind this isn't the end. There's still one more win that Eternal has to take for this to be the win for Eternal. So we still have more matches to play. We'll see how Eternal is able to close this out, or how Sequence is able to make a comeback after a short break.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, X-Size for Team Sequence on the Hillbilly against Dan, Nightlight, Zaka, and Sir Pickle. And Sir Pickle, ladies and gentlemen, is the number 1 champion in the DBDLeague ladder at the moment. Just stating that out here. So we should see amazing chases by Sir Pickle, but we will also see amazing chases by the rest of Team Eternal. If you're interested in the ladder and take a few 1v1 matches, join the DBDLeague Discord, put yourself against other community members and climb up the rank in our first Elo system in the entire DBD community. Advertisement over. We are hopping onto the gas heaven here with everyone's favorite, the Hillbilly, an amazing killer, an entertaining killer to watch here, and we are 1 set point away from having our grand finals. If Eternal wins this set here, that would be them moving over towards the grand final tomorrow against Team Trauma. M1 coming in early into the trial, 10 seconds. The Nightlight is taking the first hit here, but this area here is also very open. No pallet, as we can sometimes see. Nice zoning by Axis here, forcing him back into this area. Good day. This doesn't look too good for Nightlight.
Yeah, Nightlight doesn't really have a lot of work. He does have the killer, but X-Ice is going to be able to zone him away. The down's already coming through from the chainsaw, and this is going to give him a lot of value. If we're able to see a pain resonance as well, that's going to mean the survivors aren't going to be working on those generators as efficiently as possible. There it is. We hear the scream. We see the damage generator. Sir Pickle is going to take that little bit of pain resonance on their generator. X-Ice now looking for the next survivor. The question is, are they going to be able to keep up this pressure right now? We already have the first hook, but the first gens aren't even close to completing. If X-Ice is able to get another down in the meantime, this could be huge for their team. Sequence starting this off strong after that unfortunate, heartbreaking loss on the Cenobite just moments before. So this is definitely going to be the part where they need to make a comeback. We hear somebody working on the generator in that main building, but X-Ice not going to go for them instead. Returning back to hook, where we find Sir Pickle going in for the save right now. This could be another down right next to the hook, which would be devastating for Eternal at this stage.
Yeah, this is just now a very, this is a dream start for Hillbilly, right? Just a few seconds into the game with your first hook stage. You can take the time to camp into second stage, so you don't need to be worried that there are too many generators being completed. And being in the position with the Hillbilly where you can tunnel out 1 survivor, potentially at 5 generators already, is a huge win here for X-Size in this early game. He is faking a little bit to go away, checking if Eternal is already sending a rescue. I wouldn't even be surprised if Nightlight would be camped all the way into the death here. due to this amazing early game exercise had. That's the first generator, second generator coming out right there, so 4 points for Team Eternal, but that also means that 2 survivors are far away and won't make it over to save Nightlight, so only 1 survivor would be able to take the trade here, and that's very risky against the killer with the chainsaw, so we might actually see Nightlight confirmed into the death here, and he doesn't have a nice experience onto the gas heaven. He would leave Team Eternal instantly, and then the pressure is cut down to 3 survivors, and if Exercise then manages to take a good chase in the mid game, this could be a high stage performance by this Hillbilly here. So very, very exciting what Exercise is putting onto the table here, and we are just 5 seconds away from the elimination. Nightlight, it's coming through, it's happening. Nightlight eliminated on 3 generators remaining against the Hillbilly. What an amazing perfection start for Team Sequence here. They are with the back to the wall, all against the odds here, but even though how devastating the second set point ended, it seems like it only caused Exercise to play even more confident here.
No, yeah, definitely. Exercise, however, is going to need to keep this pressure up. The survivors have a lot of time to work on these generators. He's not able to confirm another down! Oh my god! Onto someone like Sir Pickle, then it's going to be bad for him. But after that amazing down, I don't think Exercise is scared at all. He's going to be very confident going into this now, having this next down. He could be even able to snowball this onto Zaka or Dan, since all of the generators right here in front of them are going to be out in the open. Exercise is going to have a lot of opportunity to just wait around these generators and force the survivors in positions where they're not going to be able to go into the save, and where they're going to be down by this chainsaw if they're not playing safe. And finding Dan right here, hiding in the corner. Exercise is going to be able to get a huge Dan onto Dan if he's able to curve around this next block, but Dan's not even going to try and run around it. Instead, just going to hold forward. That means Exercise should be able to get it down very, very soon. But oh, a nice micro juke from Dan, able to go around that tile. Means Exercise not able to get the down just yet. He's going to be able to throw the pallet and now loops around the main building. Returning back to the hook is a great call here from Exercise. The survivor could be going in for the save just now. However, Dan getting away from free out of that situation is huge for the side of Eternal. They were almost guaranteed going to lose there in that situation, but somehow Dan is able to make it out. And now Zaka and Dan are going to have an opportunity to potentially get Sir Pickle and finish the rest of these generators.
Yeah, this is just insane. Exercise is playing potentially the best Billy late tournament performance, I mean, of all times here. We are not talking about round 1 in a tournament or warming up. We are talking about the lower bracket finals right here. We are trying to find the grand finalist, and he's pulling this with his Hillbilly. 3 generators done already. Now going back towards Pickle, and also that survivor 20 seconds away from full elimination. So it's just insane to watch. It's just so beautiful to see what Exercise is doing here, and I really, really love to see this. It's so exciting, it's so insane, and we see the survivors over there as well. We have 4 generators now, so the end game might come up very soon, but we have a Noad as well, so this might be a guaranteed 3 survivors being killed at the end.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very hard for Eternal to make a comeback here. Exercise just able to get some beautiful snipes. The one onto Nightlight at the start, and then Sir Pickle going down as well right afterwards, after the death onto Nightlight. That's going to be huge. Sir Pickle now going to die as well. Dan, or I believe, no, that's Zaka being found out as well, means that the survivors can't really work on these generators efficiently, especially if Exercise is going to have another great chase here coming onto the Chacklooper. It's going to be a little bit difficult. However, that Bamboozle could be a part that Exercise is going to have a lot of value off of, and that it seems like it's going to come through. The extra vault speed right there is going to catch up to Zaka. Means that we're going to get this low pro through the pallet onto Zaka. Zaka now injured, not able to make a lot of distance as well. Exercise is going to be right on his back, right at this garbage truck. Ooh, but he's not going to go for him. Instead, trying to find wherever Dan is working on this next generator, which is a great call to make, because you don't want that last generator popping without all the survivors being in a position where you can down them. A 4K seems to be coming through very, very fast if Exercise is able to get this next down onto Dan. We're at this car pile, meaning that Dan's going to have a free drop pallet, but also going to take an injury because of it. Making it to this main building, however, means Exercise not going to be able to chase very efficiently, meaning that Exercise now going to leave, try to find Zaka. Zaka and Dan right now need to play very, very safe, very, very stealthily, and ensure that they're not going to be found out. But ooh, Zaka being found now at this Paladin means that Exercise is going to have a wonderful time at trying to get the down, since you can really just bloodlust at this point.
Yeah, and this Bloodlust is kicking for the survivor. Realized it might not be in range. It's a down onto Zaka here. The final survivor, and we have him right there. There's not even the last generator done. We are about to see a 4K from a Hillbilly. And the jump from the Billy here. Even the juice being served now towards the end as well by Exercise here. What an insane performance. We have a 4K on the Hillbilly around the corner here on a generator standing. We haven't seen that in so long. And then on Gas Heaven as well, a super huge and large map as well, where the Billy can really struggle from time to time. And the 4K on this killer in the lower bracket final is nothing we could ever predict here. So this is what we talked about in the campfire chat. Sequence coming with so many surprises here. Back and forth between Dan and Exercise here, and it leads into back and forth here. Actually quite some time, and the bucket tag invented with the 1v1 event by Team Void, I think, was it, or Team Karma is used by Dan, and that's going to be the down now. A 4K with the generator remaining from the Hillbilly on the Gas Heaven. If I would have told you this before going into this match today, if I would have said to you, there will be a 4K on the Hillbilly, I think you would have banned me from the Discord.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
this is such a surprise, right?
Yeah, they hook on to Dan now, but we still need to find Zaka. That's the question. We could be losing 1 point, which would be very heavily against Excise's favor here. As we've seen Eternal, their survivors might have lost here, but the killer always has the opportunity to make a comeback, and with the pressure of having a 4K at 1 generator, if they're able to do it, you don't want them to have the opportunity to win there in that situation by allowing a bleed out to happen. So right now, really, the question is where is Zaka? Are we going to be able to find him? It seems like he's going down to where we saw Sir Pickle and Nightlight die at the start of the match. So unless we see the killer head over there, it's going to be a very difficult question of whether or not Excise is going to find him in the meantime, as we only have half of that timer remaining, around 60 seconds before Zaka is going to die to that bleed out.
Yeah, this is now the 1 point that could happen right there. So this 1 point would swing it at least towards if Eternal would 4K as well on that generator. Excise and T-Sequence would lose it, so they really want to make sure that they do find this remaining survivor right here. Closing the hatch, highest priority though. You don't want Zaka to sneak back here, but the win condition would, even if there's the bleed out, the win condition would be all generators done. You don't even need an out, so no one escapes death. No way out would be cut from Eternal's killer, and that's really huge. And there is Zaka now located as well, so it's a clear and clean 4K with 1 generator standing. 28-8 will be the score here, and we haven't seen this in so long, and this was, I genuinely believe this was one of the most impressive Billy performances in a long time.
Yeah, that snipe onto Sir Pickle especially cemented this match. You know, that early chase into Nightlight was definitely very strong, but finding Sir Pickle immediately after and getting the down just as quick very much cemented this match as a win and a victory for Sequence here on the killer, at least. We still have yet to see if they're able to perform good enough against Eternal on the Survivor side, but we'll see if they're able to win out this match and potentially make a comeback in this matchup after a short break.
Excise, iPick, Swatter, and Seth against Bobo Zavre. It is a very experienced Hillbilly that's coming out there on the Gas Heaven with Bubbo, but a good performance and an experienced performance will not be enough to force a 4K onto Sequence with 1 generator standing for a tie. So 2 gens will need to be remaining for the win. What you need is a miracle. Is Eternal able to pull that and claim the 3-0 in this best of 5, joining Trauma in the grand final tomorrow, or will they need to play set number 4? Here he is, the dangerous Hillbilly of Team Eternal, not finding a survivor as quick as Excise did in the previous trial, but spotting someone far away in the outside. There's 1 filler pallet right here. Mind game doesn't work out straight away. Survivor's just dropping it, making sure that the potential local chain cannot cause any damage, but we will find out soon that that's not the case. But Buzavo being stuck here in this chest. So this is going to cause a little bit of a delay and distance. So we are now almost 40 seconds into the trial. No injury, no down just yet. So definitely the significantly worse start for Team Eternal. But not because Bubble is making a mistake, because this is how Hillbilly is expected to perform on the gas heaven. It's just Sequence that was really smashing it with Exercise in the previous trial. Getting a few pallets out of the way here early on, but not really able to put the pressure on the survivors just yet. And I think Nancy is setting herself up for a quite good run here. Never mind, comes this curse. Yeah. I jinxed it. Down early on. Corrupt gone, yes, but this doesn't look too much better anymore.
One thing we have to keep in mind, though, Dyer, is that we're going to be watching a 4.4 Billy here. We're going to have that charge speed out, plus those beast cards or beast cravings, I believe, are going to come in here, meaning that Bubba's going to be moving at 4.4, but having a bit of a faster charge time here that could pay out for his favor. However, if he's able to find these survivors out in the open, we find Seth now over near the rocks, but Bubba not able to get the curve just yet onto him, has to return now back towards the hook. Seth making it very difficult for him to commit right now, as Bubble needs a very, very quick death out here to, just keep up with the game that Excise had previously. However, like you said, this is a much, much worse opening, as Bubble didn't get a very fast first down, or at least as fast as Excise did previously, meaning that Bubble is going to be in a much worse position, as generators are already popping. We're not even in the second stage here for Swatter.
Yeah, Swatter now could be camped as well into the second stage and then be the survivor that is leaving the trial early on. Survivor holding the chainsaw there. 2 generators completed for Team Sequence. Eternal now with the second stage on the killer side. Back and forth here on this one. Finds access, yeah, and going back, but a very, very nice Anok timing. Right when Bogozavra is in the corner of the map, they are coming back. Good decision to come back, but now with a 4.4 killer, looping the shack can be really painful and cause a lot of time loss. I do think this needs to be the drop of the shack pallet though, so this resource is gone. Nancy, Swatter is going to move over to this tile. He should make it with the 4.4 killer, but the charge speed is doing its work, and that's enough to stop Swatter from reaching this pallet here. The add-on actually coming out just in time, and that's going to be a very nice next hook stage onto this survivor. Now the elimination coming through, just 3 survivors standing with 2 generators remaining. You need a 4K right here for the win, but honestly, even if it would be the tie, I think Eternal would take that any other day.
Yeah, definitely. After the game of Exercise, turning this into a tie would be a huge win for Eternal here. However, one thing that I wanted to keep in mind was I thought Swatter was going to make that pallet because of the 4.4, but like we said, that charge speed was able to make up actually for the 4.4 and resulted in the down onto Swatter instead of him just making that pallet. That was huge to see. Now, however, he's on, he was able to burn out his chainsaw, had to wait for that to come back up, only has his 4.4 to walk around, but he does find one of these survivors working on the generators. That's going to be iPick. However, he doesn't have a lot of opportunities to force the survivors into situations where they're going to have to take downs right now, so the survivors are going to be free to play this slow and make sure that they're going to attack these generators when they need to, not necessarily at all times forcing them to play risky. You see Excise across the map. Bubba's going to chase him. However, he's going to have resources available for him to continue this chase and able to reset this generator, meaning Bubba's immediately going to have to kick it, wasting even more time in the chase. Excise, a great play from him. They're able to waste the time of Bubba. It means that the other 2 survivors can start working on generators across the map, which should mean that at least the tie is going to come through here, since this next chase from Excise should be decently long. We see the pallet break, no low pro to enforce a injure, meaning that Excise is going to be healthy and makes it to the next tile as well. However, Bubba has an opportunity to curve around here, but Excise takes it very tight, and Bubba can't take it as tight, meaning that he's now going to have to return back towards the corner of the map, but still, this isn't a good position for Excise to be in. Bubba is right behind him, has the charge speed. He shouldn't be able to make anywhere. This one pallet is all that's left, but ooh, looping around this rock right here is going to be huge for Bubba. Ooh, but he still is able to convert it to a down still somehow. That is crazy, but still, those 2 survivors were working on generators during that whole time. They should be able to complete one more and force the tie, but that's really the question. Was there enough time? Seth is almost about to complete one. iPick nowhere nearby, was trying to potentially go for a flashlight save, as we do see that in his hand, meaning that Bubba's going to be able to interrupt this generator, and the the path to 14 at 2 generators still remains alive. This could still be a win, as Excise, however, will be unhooked, means that Bubble is going to have less and less chances. In fact, leaving that area right there, I think, was a misplay, since you could have had the chase onto Excise and another down very quickly. Trying to look for somebody else, however, is just going to waste a little bit more time, meaning that the survivors are going to be able to regroup and potentially work on even more gens. Seth will take the stun immediately onto Bubble. Bubble will break and now return back to this generator. He just doesn't want this generator to pop. I think that's why he didn't commit to the chase on Excise. He doesn't want that generator to pop at all costs.
Yeah, this is the important thing, right? You really, really don't want to allow that. Now, Bubazavre going after the next survivor here, the Nia back and forth. Seth is trying to break line of sight and double back in a good moment to take distance. Not going to happen. There is going to be a little look up though by Bubazavre to avoid this firecracker right here. Oh, not taking the down right here on this window. It needs to be bamboozled to cut it down and not make it that strong for the survivor here. Is it going to be the down now? The charge speed once again coming in. Seth not able to make it around the corner. And there's the injured Excise now. Do you want to greed on the side of Bubazavre? You kinda have to. You want to have this 4K here. On the other hand, as we said, a tie would be more than great for Eternal here after being 4K on one generator standing, so totally understandable decision to take that 5th hook stage right here. However, there are a few generators far away from the hook here, and this is a fresh hook as well. So let's see how this is turned out. It's going to be a call of Brian, and Brian will support a little bit here with this generator, and going back onto Excise was last seen on the shack and is still over here. Hasn't turned over to any generator, and now we know that iPic is not going to be around the hook, but it means that the worst result could be a tie right here. Generator number 5 would be the win for Team Sequence. Nice dodge there by our injured Excise. Now the save as well. 2 survivors will hop onto the last generator. Pallet in reach as well. So this is so on edge here, and the Excise is doing a very, very good job missing from miss from Bubble once again, and he has to go back now to defend these gens.
Yeah, this is a very difficult situation for Bubble to be in. We saw Excise, he was on the corner, he was injured, but still that wasn't enough. He was able to keep up that chase for so long, meaning the survivors could get back on this generator. However, Bubble immediately returns over there, overheats in the meantime, however, means that he can't use his chainsaw right now, only has that 4.4 M1, and the survivors can make a lot of distance in the meantime. The gens as well aren't that close together. We have these 2, which are very close together, but then 1 that's a little bit far away. Bubble can try and pressure that with his chainsaw, but when he has to go and cross those distances, and when this generator is so close to being completed, he really can't afford to do that as of now. He needs to ensure the locations of all the survivors before he's able to do that, and right now that's exactly what he's trying to do, trying to look on the edges of these maps, trying to find a survivor hiding out in this area, trying to ensure that no one is actually going in, trying to break that generator. In the distance, we see Excise getting a reset, meaning that Bubble knows at least one of these survivors aren't near these generators, or rather, at least 2 of the survivors to that reset, and Seth also being injured could be a huge fine for Bubble, but yep, I would assume that he was the second survivor, and it seems that was so, as Seth also in the meantime will get reset. The question is, where are these survivors, what are they doing, and what is their game plan going now into this in-game? Bubble is going to have to try and lock these down as much as possible. We see Excise in the main building, Seth running towards the garbage truck, running towards these generators that were being worked on. Bubble is heading over there soon though, and iPic is also trying to wrap around towards another generator on the opposite side. Bubble is going to return to the middle, find Seth, and a chase will ensue in the meantime. Only has really Shaq to work with because he is zoned away from the center of the map. Bubble could get a curve here onto Seth, but ooh, a wonderful juke from Seth, able to go towards the killer and avoid that chase because it makes the pallet jump. However, going to greet it. That's going to be very, very risky from Seth, as we do have that charge speed. If Bubble commits to this, ooh, I was going to say it could be a down, but Seth goes towards the right, meaning that Bubble couldn't have even gotten it if he charged up that fully. Oh, and a wonderful juke back into the killer once again. Avoids another hit. Seth is doing a great job at avoiding these hits. And we know from when we look at the survivors that iPic is working on a fire generator that Bubble is going to head over towards, but the overheat is going to mean he's not going to get a lot of value of it, only a kick. And now it's going to be resulted back to 4.4 as he tries to chase down onto iPic scratch marks.
Yeah, this is a very well played gen pressure now by Team Sequence, pulling back as soon as Bubazavre is moving into their location, trying to spread it across the generators here. We have no survivor injured, so as long as they're not getting sniped, they should be fine. Set there, almost being the sniper just pulling back last second, but now you have the add-on once again. That's going to be a quick charge time and therefore a very quick down, and that could be a basement hook as well. So as safe as Sequence was playing it, as quick as Bubasavra taking that safety away from them. It's going to be the second hook stage onto Seth, so this means 60 seconds, and then there is only 2 survivors remaining in the trial. Going back here, someone is not hitting the perfect skill checks there, and Brian will call once again and will regress this generator. The aggressive herd combination of this add-on, the bamboozle, the Stunber, what's it called
Enduring?
again?
Enduring?
Thank you, Enduring. I was like Eruption, but that's it. Enduring. Yeah, this aggressive combination together with the add-on is doing so much for them. Usually I would have said, especially when you are in this situation, you want to play aggressive, right? You need to play a little bit risky, but putting it all in like Bubasavra here and taking so much value from it is still impressive to me. So he's also doing a fantastic job in keeping an eye on these generators. We see Adam going towards the generator and iPick, then instantly pulling back as soon as Bubasavra is about to go over towards this generator here. Such a back and forth between Eternal and Sequence. Keep in mind the win condition. If there would be the 4K right here, that would mean we are staying on the gas 7. We are playing the Hillbilly once again. This time it would be Eternal starting, and this could be amazing for them, because making a comeback and finding the tie after being 4K'd on one generator remaining is an amazing story of answering to that. Also with 2 set points in the back, it would be really, really working out for them. So for Sequence, I feel like they need this set point here. They need to make sure that they are rewarding themselves for the great performance in the Survivor games. They have shown really good performances. They were just not able to reward themselves with that set point. So it would be so needed right here. Seth just
barely avoid.
A few inches. Yeah, absolutely. That was so close.
Oh, but
now
he gets it!
Wow.
That's insane. The curves by Bubbo so far
insane.
have been so good. Even though Excise has done a great job at avoiding them, not the rest of his team has. Eternal isn't able, or rather, sorry, Sequence isn't able to keep up with the curves of Bubbo so far. Only Excise really being the one who can challenge him, as Excise, as we saw previously, is very experienced on the Hillbilly, knowing exactly what he needs to do to avoid that. Another kill for Eternal here. That's going to be so huge for their game plan to try and get a tie and reset this set. That would be so good for Eternal right here. We see iPick and Excise both splitting on these generators. However, with only 2 of them alive, you don't have someone to distract. In the meantime, while the both of you are working on the generators, meaning Bubbo has a great opportunity to just go back and forth now that no one can distract him. We see the scratch mark now. Another survivor, but iPick is found behind the tree and somehow gets hit with the edge of Bubbo's chainsaw. And that means Excise, the only survivor remaining, is going to have to carry the hopes and dreams of his team on his back after he set up such a great Billy performance. He doesn't want to have to do it again, as Excise is all that remains between them and a tie right now. This could be a huge result for Eternal to reset this set right now.
We are about to see a double 4K! A double 4K of the Hillbilly on the gas heaven. It's so insane. Sequence will also have to think about generator number 5 or trying an endgame play, right? That could be an option as well, but with the high mobility killer Hillbilly, it will be difficult to attack these doors and staying hidden with that one. So let's see how this is played out. But yeah, Excise, the experienced Hillbilly who just managed to 4K Eternal on a generator left, is now the last standing survivor in the trial. Bubbo is trying to find a good mix between guarding the slug and taking an eye onto the generators. He's not really able though to have a look onto the generator back here, but if the survivor would work on it, Bubbo would notice the percentage difference, so then he would look in that area. What a difficult spot to be in for Excise, and we see that he's not touching the generator. He doesn't want to give away his position. That tells me that Sequence is actually setting up for an end game play here, waiting until iPick has been dying in the basement, then closing hatch, and then going for this exit door and trying to pull the win with the escape. That's kind of the last chance for Team Sequence here. IPIC is not allowed to Kobe, so that also means at least 1 minute in the trial needs to be stealthed out here. And I don't know though. Sequence is in a rough spot, and these doors do not seem to be the worst, especially with a high mobility killer. Excise managed to stay hidden, managed to walk over all the way towards the main building. Is now going into the open though, a little bit taking some risk here, and we can only hope that he's not caught out too early.
Yeah, I think Excise has realized that Bubbo knows exactly where this hatch is going to spawn. He knows exactly how the end game is going to play out. It really comes down to where the doors are. I think he's going to try and find where exactly the door spawns are. We know one's by hatch. The question is, where's the next one? Where do I need to try and pressure these situations? Or potentially Excise could also be going for the unhook in the basement. He is making his way towards there. He sees the door next to Shaq. Now the question is, does he know where the other one is? Is he going to head back towards the main building for that hatch? Or actually, I didn't even check what the offerings were for here. It could be that the hatch is going to be spawning at the shack as well, so maybe Exercise needs to make his way over towards the shack once again, or maybe he's going to be playing the long game. He's going to expect Bubble to go check the opposite door. Oh no, I just realized the opposite door is right next to the shack as well. Bubble's going to have a great opportunity to just wait in between these doors. If the hatch spawns at shack as well, this is going to be a horrible position for Excise to be in, and this is looking more and more like the tie is going to come out in this match as IPIC is getting closer and closer to death.
Yeah, this is just now so much pressure on the shoulders of Excise. Poor man, taking all the responsibility for Team Sequence, and after he played so well on the Hillbilly, Sequence would have well deserved this set point, right? The fact that Eternal is able to stop them shows once more how insane they are performing here today and how much Eternal wants to move into the grand final. Boa has 5 minutes to close the hatch. To everyone interested in the chat there, killers need to close the hatch within 5 minutes, but that was 5 seconds, so everything fine right there. Now Excise, end game Andy needs to pull an impressive play. Is it going to happen? That's the question, and Bubazavra doesn't notice it. Bubazavra isn't aware yet that there is already a survivor on the door, and that was a few percentages already taken for free here. So the dream of set point number 1 for Team Sequence is still there. You have a few percentages, but you also have a non-heated chainsaw at all, so instantly with the charge speed as well. Excise, you need to pull it right here. Open, exit, and just a few percentages as well, but it was a few percentages too much. That's going to be the red light now onto this door. You can spot that across the gas heaven. Is this a mind game though? It kind of seems like one. He tried to pull it, but Bubazavra able to locate him. Now Sequence has the chance to show off a nice chase, but it will be the last one. Endgame collapse kills awards all points, so this would mean we are running things back on the Hillbilly. Did he just teabag to force a 1v1?
I think he did. Excise going out in style here now, has this pallet gem to play around. Is he going to be able to get the stun? That's the question. No, he's just going to pre-drop it. Goes vaults though. Ooh, that's going to result in an M1. Not the best start to 1v1 that you would want, but now Excise is going to have a little bit of distance to gain. Is it going to be enough to make anything else? I don't think so, but he's going to be able to play around in the open here around these trees, and because of that makes even more distance, is able to find a filler pallet. Bubbo going to just rev his chainsaw in anger at the fact that Excise was able to make this much distance, but the timer is clicking down. The in-game collapse is about to end. The stun comes through, but it's not going to be enough. The teabags for moral support, and now the come here for the extra moral support. Just great friends these two are, I would say, but Bubbo not even going to take it down, just going to give us that in-game collapse kill.
Yeah, this is insane. It's now going to work the opposite order, so Eternal will start on the killer side. Tiebreakers for a set will be replayed in alternating order. We had Sequence starting originally, so now it's going to be Eternal starting. So Bubazavre not only causing a tie after odds being against that, now he can play straight again with this confidence. So Sequence will be under pressure. We are staying on the gas heaven, ladies and gentlemen. Set number 3 needs a winner. So Bubazavre Killer, and we will stay on this map. We will be back for you straight after a short break. Welcome back, everybody, to the second set with the Hillbilly here. Bubazavre once again on this Killer on the gas heaven. Excise, iPick, Swatter, and Seth are going to be the survivors for Team Sequence. Tiebreakers are played in alternating order, so Bubazavre can take his confidence of reaching the tiebreaker here with him, and he will come back into this trial with a great feeling. It's allowed to change the builds, so survivors and killers can adjust and come in with a new strategy. Let's take a look onto Bubazavre's build, though. It is Call of Brian. It is now the end game perk No One Escapes Death. It's a Bamboozle, so no aggression anymore. Understandable since we are back to 0. But we have replaced the add-on with the low pro chain. So
no
the survivors potentially expecting this 4.4 now, yeah, and the chat speed, and that could potentially be a big surprise when they get hit with the low pro chains, causing a weird zoning on them. So this is actually a really interesting change there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Bubble, however, is going to start off in a chase relatively fast. Finds Seth here at this filler pellet, maybe able to get a low pro, but no, Seth isn't going, or is going to greet it, meaning that Bubble not able to get the low pro just yet. He didn't have his chainsaw ready up, meaning that he's going to be able to get one more pellet round, and now the low pro has been called out. They know what the add-ons are, and we are going to be able to play around the pallets, therefore, knowingly, and Seth is able to make it to another pallet, once again, a pallet gym this time, however, but he will get hit with an M1, has to run into the killer as well, meaning that Bubbo is going to be able to gain some distance onto Seth and maybe able to get a snowball chainsaw down onto him right here, but ooh, he's able to make one of these weird new tiles that have been added to Auto Haven, but it's not going to work enough for him, meaning that Seth is just going to go down here out in the open and a relatively fast down. However, the survivors should have had plenty enough time to start working on the generators. We do see that the Corrupt is going to go. We see Excise working on Gen, iPick also working on one, Seth on the back of the killer, and Swatter also all working on one, all near completion. Bubbo is going to have to work hard to force the survivors off the generators, and immediately going to head towards where we saw Swatter working on one. Bust through the door, says hello, hi here's Johnny, and finds Swatter on this generator. Now going to leave off the main building. Bubbo, however, not going to commit to this chase just yet, just going to stay around here, but finds Swatter trying to sneak back in. Ooh. And hits him, forcing him to drop the pallet immediately. Bubbo now has a lot of pressure on these survivors, however, needs to head back immediately if he doesn't want a save to come through. One of the generators from the survivors are already popping, and Seth is almost going into the second stage, so Bubbo staying here would be a great call, but it seems he wants more. He wants to find Swatters hiding out here, but ooh, now knowing that both of the generators across the map are being popped, Bubbo doesn't need to stay as close to this hook as he once did before.
Yeah, this is good pressure so far from Bubazavre once again, but Sequence looking a little bit more confident here. They have 2 generators out already, just 1 oak stage in exchange. Bubazavre decides to go back. I don't think there was a right skewer, and therefore he's going into the main building, but Nancy being around here. Swatter, however, great awareness and making sure that he is not taking any risk here. So it's going to be the chase continue. Difficult decision here. Do you go back and go for the hook and just confirm the death here, but then you will also give Sequence a ton of freedom, and they do get the save, sneaking in all the way from the shack here. So really insanely done by Team Sequence, and this is huge now, being stuck here in this trial. That's going to be more distance for the survivor, and finding safety there in the midsection of the gas heaven, back towards the shack. Not a 4.4 killer anymore because the low pro chain add-on this time, so it's a little bit easier to work around this very strong tile, dropping the shack early on, but third generator coming out, not hitting the chain either, because the survivors are just abusing Shaki and hiding behind the corners whenever they can. So very strong run here as well. We might even see someone coming in for a hit with the low pro chain.
Another one!
Oh my god! At 4th generator, so Sequence is not joking today.
Yeah, they're not joking around at all this time. We saw them get the tie previously, but now they're going to try and get as many escapes as they can. We might see the 4K into the 4 out, but ooh, Seth taking it down is trying to hamper that. We might see the death come through unless there's a pallet save, but I don't hear any footsteps, and that's going to mean that the hook onto Seth is going to come out. That's going to be the kill. That's going to be 7 points for Curl and 8 for Sequence, but Sequence still with 3 survivors are going to be in a great position. The only thing that could hamper that is the Noed coming into the end game. We see both the survivors finishing that last generator. Swatter gonna get that adrenaline, gives him a little extra distance, but the Noed, the extra 4% that Bubbo's getting is gonna mean that he's gonna be right on his back. The down onto Swatter now gonna come through. That's a fresh look. Everyone's a fresh look, however, so Bubbo is gonna need to try and get as many stages as possible before the survivors get on those gates and get out of here.
Yeah, this is insane. 3-stage endgame compared to 4K in the previous trials. Swatter being slugged and Bubasavre once more. That's very, very understandable because this is like really insane because it's just really huge what is going on here. Now with this switch from Team Sequence, you really want another down here, forcing 9 stages potentially, but with how long iPick is chasing here, that could be Swatter being picked up. No one escapes death, is doing the work, however. It's going to be an instant down, just picking this one, going for what you have confirmed. They have located the totem, they will cleanse no one escapes death, so dangerous, or the danger leaving the trial a little bit. Swatter needs to watch out though with being injured. It could be a very quick down here. And we are now trying to see what they are up for. Excise is the healthy survivor. He could do something, but now located due to the fact that the totem is obviously leaving a noise notification. That was the injured survivor, so an M1 could be enough. So Excise, not the last standing survivor, but once again the one who has to do the work here.
Yeah, definitely. We see Swatter going down as well. iPick is on a direct line of sight away from Swatter, but ooh, Bubbo choosing to get the pickup here, not going to go and try to interrupt the save onto iPick here. That's going to mean that iPick and Exo can potentially get out of the door or even go for a reset and then get Swatter up, but Swatter is kind of far from these doors, so the doors first need to get opened. I don't think there's much progress on either of them, meaning that Bubbo still has the opportunity to potentially get a 4K here at all generators completed. Excise is going to be the healthy one chasing around this main building. It's going to be hard for Bubbo to get it down. However, we saw the middle of the map. It doesn't have much resources, only really this pallet to play around, but Swatter gets saved by iPick anyways, and now Bubbo needs an excellent curve around here if they're going to be able to get it down.
Yeah, this is so well done by Bubasavre so far here. We do have the next chase going on with Excise now. They managed to take enough time to go for some sort of a recovery play here. So Sequence very likely with 2 survivors at least escaping this trial. But it means that the stages are coming in. Bubasavre now on 5 instead of 3, so good work there. It's going to be a lot of time taken by Excise here by dropping.
The door's open, they could get the 3 out!
It will be the low chains into the sprint burst. Are they
the door's
going
not open!
out here? There's also a wall that needs to be broken. Bubasavre needs to get rid of that first. And it was not this door, it was the other one in the distance that they prepared. Bad news for Excise here being trapped in the main building. We were thinking for a second that the safety is just around the corner, but he needs to travel cross map with this chase, so this is going to be tricky. Going back into the main building here, Swat and iPick potentially on the other side of the map here, but look at
the
this
door could be open now.
chase by Excise and what he's doing. It could be now open door. Yeah, I have to agree on that, and it will be trying to trade some stages here. Adam is trying to come in, but it will be Excise going down here, and then Adam as well. Double down. You need to decide between one of them. It's going to be the A is being picked up for the hook stage. I'm not sure if Adam makes that in time, Gate.
Yeah, the hook is so close. It's going to come down to the last final seconds, and whether or not Excise is going to be able to get out this door, or potentially even Swatter could come in for the save, but it seems like he's going to be just barely close, as the heal tech from Swatter will guarantee it, and the outs for both of them should be almost guaranteed here. Swatter goes out, and there's iPick as well. Only the 7 points from Excise will result in the final score, or the final stages of 8, and the final score of, I believe, 22-14. So a very close game still here, 6 points apart, and not the best result you would want to see from the killer after those 2 4Ks that we saw previously.
Yeah, this is... I mean, coming out straight again on the Survivor side after a difficult performance against a killer who has every good reason to have so much confidence after that comeback story of Bubasavra, and then pulling these stages out of the door is still really, really huge. Yes, it's, if you want so, only 4 stages out of the door, but it's still a huge swing, and Excise was a very dangerous Billy as well. Yeah, it's not only Bubasavra coming out here with an insane performance, so I'm really looking forward to see how this is responded to by Team Sequence, and we will find out, ladies and gentlemen, after a short break. Alright everybody, welcome back. Excise on the Billy once again. Dan, Nightlight, Zaka, Bubasavra. Bubasavra, the insane Billy here, but Excise, the other insane Billy. And now it's coming down to the question who lets less survivors escape from this trial. We have seen 8 stages coming out from Bubasavra in the previous trial. 14 points therefore for Team Sequence here. So we need 5 stages out of the door. 7 stages are the win condition for Team Eternal. On the Survivor side, Sequence needs basically 3 kills, 9 stages, or 8 stages across the entire Survivor team should be enough as well. But 3 kills would definitely be enough. So let's see how this is going to play out here on the Gas 7 once again. Will Sequence force us into the next set, or will we see that we are leading set number 4? And Ace is going to be the first one. Dan the man, how the community is calling him, and that's going to be a quick injury here onto him. So good start for Excise, and he's also going to now the
could this be a curve? Oh no!
Here, that could be a nice one, but unfortunately this tile is in the way. But looked really, really nicely.
Yeah, definitely did. This is setting up a really, really strong Dan on this chase on the main building. However, it could lead Excise going here for a pretty long time, but he switches over now to Zaka. On this filler palette, he's not going to have a lot of potential to go towards the next places, and a great zoning there from Excise now, but Zaka doing a great job at just forcing the killer to waste a little bit more time. If he wants it down with a chainsaw, he now has to bring it up once again. You can't really zone him unless he breaks that palette, so trying to play around this garbage tile is going to be very, very difficult for Excise unless he hits a very nutty curve. The Bloodlust now building up. Zaka is going to take the M1, however, and with that speed, he's going to make it all the way over towards the main building. But the question is Excise going to be able to catch up? But no, Excise not even going for that. Instead, now we're trading back towards the middle where we find yet again another survivor. That's going to be Dan, once again, the injured one, going to return back towards now where the shack side is, and should find a bunch of other survivors on this area too. We saw Nightlight running away from that generator, so Excise interrupting these gens. This could be huge for him if he's able to snowball into another chase right after the down onto Dan, but that hasn't come through yet either. So it really, I was going to say, it really comes down to whether or not this pallet is going to become thrown, but it doesn't seem like Dan's going to make it. The down now comes through. Is the pallet safe from Nightlight going to come through? However, that's the question. No footsteps nearby, and no, that's not going to come through just yet. The hook is next to it, however, so that's going to be the pain resonance being activated as well. Excise going to be able to kick this generator, starting to regress that one as well, but knowing that this one didn't get hit by pain resonance means another generator has more progress, so Excise can't really be hesitating right here. He needs to get another down fast, and finding Zaka is definitely going to be the start to that.
Yeah, this is exactly what you need here. Dan on hook, and then Zaka being busy as well, but there's the generator in the distance. First 2 points for Team Eternal here. Going now over here, trying to catch that survivor, making sure that he can't move towards the hook for free. You want to have Dan in the second stage here. It's all about this 3v1 strategy that is really, really efficient, especially on a weaker killer like the Hillbilly. You want one survivor out as quick as possible, but Excise is taking quite some punishment for that. He is down by 2 generators already, and talking about punishment, just issuing Sequence will receive a black card for changing the name back to Excise. No mercy. That just as a side note to the entire viewership here, and that's Adam called out here. That should be an M1 onto Nightlight, so Bubasavra the only healthy survivor here, so Excise able to keep an eye onto Dan, now even going back towards the hook here and spreading a few injuries, so he's finding a very good mix between aggressive pressure and killing Dan.
Yeah, this could be the camp out right here, and as you were saying previously, Excise does get a black card for having the wrong name, but black cards at this stage of the tournament aren't going to count against you, not going to result in a disqualification, just going to result in prize money being less the more black cards that you have. But Dan now going to be on that hook next to death. We saw Bubbo as Excise went across the map and found him, but wasn't able to interrupt, meaning that Bubbo should be heading closer and closer to this unhook, or potentially just working on these generators and leaving Dan here to the die. That's the question. Will the survivors just allow for a death here, and will that really play out for him as 2 survivors are injured? It seems like Excise is going to commit to this chainsaw. He's going to be overheated as soon as it ends, so he needs to get some value out of it, and he's going to get the pallet break. Dan dies in the distance. 2 generators pop. Nightlight now in the corner. This is going to be another down very soon. This would result in 6 stages if he does camp it out, but he needs another down if he wants to get as many points as possible going into this.
Yeah, this is now the
in-game's already here!
Pressure and do this killer here, because we are in fact in the end game right here. The final generator coming through. What an insane performance, what an insane efficiency here from our survivor team, and that means that Nightlight is on hook. There would be 7 stages, but that's not enough here. Excise needs a little bit more and needs to find the next survivor. No one escapes. Death is coming out, but you cannot really stop. Yes. You do see a survivor over here, but they are making this exit gate in time, but you do force them back into the map here. No one escapes. Death is forcing the instant down onto that survivor. So Bubazava is in a lot of danger here. A very, very risky situation for them. Excise is going back towards the hook and the potential rest. Back in a perfect moment. That is Saka. That is a survivor that would grant you so much.
You need Nightlight as well, though, if you want to win. You need another survivor as well if you want to win here.
Going for the exit gate, you need that one. You go instantly after that survivor. It's a speed run in the end game. Are they working on the totem? Yes, they were. There's the survivor around here. End game action. This is so dramatic. Eternal potentially pulling this and moving into the grand final, knocking out Sequence or
He's overheated.
Set number 4. Eternal Sequence. Sequence or Eternal. Zaka still down there, but losing this survivor. Going back towards Zaka, expecting that there would be the pickup, but that one is not going to happen. You need another survivor as soon as Nightlight and Bubazava would be at the exit gates. It would be over for Sequence.
He's right here. We see that Bubbo's heading towards the exit gate. No, it is still up. He's running back into the map. Excise still has a chance here if he's able to get it down on Bubbo and then go back for Zaka before Nightlight's able to get the pickup. This could be the reversal and the win for Sequence here, but it's going to be very close. Eternal has the chance to take the entire set of 3-0 here. If they are able to get at least 1 more or 2 more survivors out of the gate right now, Zaka is getting picked up. That means Nightlight and Zaka are nearby, however, meaning that Excise still has an opportunity to get some slugs here, but he needs it down onto Nightlight as soon as possible, or onto Zaka. Either one will do, but you need both in the end, so you need them as fast as possible. Zaka now running towards the main building. It's going to be hard to catch him in there. Excise knows this, so he's going to try and run around and find Bubbo, but Bubbo's too close to the exit as well. It doesn't seem like he's going to get anything in this in-game if he doesn't commit soon.
Yeah, this is so huge. And this decision making, you don't want to be in that situation right now. Do you go for this or
time
this?
is running out.
The door. Endgame collapse. Endgame collapse was finish it off as well. That's another
They have to go for the other door.
For Excise. What a smart move. What a smart move here. They need to go all the way across the map. Yeah, but look at the time of the endgame collapse with no down. It is running at double speed, so it's not going to happen. Nightlight being downed here. Crawl
already left.
This stops the
time.
time.
The door's probably open.
It's going to be way slower now. Nightlight is down. You need to pick him at some point, but then the survivors have the chance to make it out. There's the survivor. There's the Nia. Bubazava will reach the exit gate just so close. Sequence is dropping from the All Hollows League, finishing as the 3rd placed team here in this event, and it will in fact be Eternal moving into the grand final against Team Trauma tomorrow with a best of 7. It is going to be 28-36 for Team Eternal. What an insane performance here by Eternal. 3-0. Sequence placing 3rd. Congratulations for the bronze placement here, and the $50 as a little bit of a tip there for such an amazing performance. Thank you so much for playing this. And I think we see the match everyone wanted, right? Eternal versus Trauma. I have heard it a lot in the community. I've seen it in the chat before. Eternal and Trauma will battle it out tomorrow in a best of 7.